on. Boom. Yes, I love it. Just a moment ago, I didn't actually press the record button, so it's good that I actually got this one for you because we're coming out with some good content. And today I wanted to introduce you to Chris Jackson. You guys already know me, Brock Bowen, a.k.a. The Lifetarian, a.k.a. Batman, a.k.a. Magic Man, a.k.a. Mr. Momentum, a.k.a. whatever you want to call me. But decided to share Chris Jackson with you guys today as part of this show. I've been bringing some amazing people from you. Chris is definitely in that caliber. And, you know, three different reasons I want to share Chris with you. One, he's an awesome guy, and he's become a really good mate of mine too, which I love. We're actually put together our first retreat together and already excited. You know, we've literally just had the idea. We've got people booking in. It's got a flow to it. It's going to be the best ever. And Chris has also been very lucky. He's actually been a client of mine. How lucky are you? How lucky am I?
Winning.
And it's just a fun thing to get on. And today we wanted to get on and have a bit of a conversation about that because I do things a little bit different. Chris came on. He was recommended by Rachel, who'd done some sessions with me. And I was just saying it now. It's, you know, with Chris, as soon as I said what I'm up to, the package that I do, he goes, I'm in. Bang, a dream client, money through straight away. And I saw him doing so much work on himself, so much work on his craft. And now he's full-time doing this thing, doing the full-time coaching, consulting. Now he's just jumped into retreats, already got this beautiful thing mapped out. And I just love every time we chat. And I love how much it adds to my life too. So I wanted to get on and share you with the audience and share a bit about what you're up to. So Chris Jackson Coaching, what are you up to these days, my man?
Yeah, thank you, Brock. Thank you so much. Yeah, since we first connected, I've come a long way. As you said, I was originally working in the engineering industry. I used to be an engineer. Gee, that's a long way away now. I'm at the other end of the spectrum. So I'm doing success coaching now. So combination of life and business coaching combined and really helping people do what they love. That's my passion. That's where I was stuck a number of years ago doing something I didn't particularly love. And since working with you and gone on this personal development journey, now I would have passed that on to other people and really help people discover and create whatever that is that for them. So thank you so much for being part of that journey, Brock. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Well, I love it. I feel lucky, and that's how I want to feel every day with the people that I work with. You know, in choosing to do business our way, we get the ability to work with whoever we want. And I feel so fortunate. The people that are showing up in my life are doing so many cool things. But more than ever, when people realize that it's okay to be different, it's okay for me to be different, because so much of my life I was trying to fit into a box. I was hiding who I was from the world, because you go to a workplace, people work 8 hours, you get it done in 2. But if you only work for 2 hours, people think you're lazy, even though you actually got more done in 2 hours and most people got done in 8 hours. And my whole life was like that, pretending to be busy doing different things. And, you know, just now when you started to say you're living the dream, what does that mean to you? To say, because it's different. So many times when you speak to a coach, it's all about X amount of dollars. It's all about certain things. It's all about hitting goals. And I know you're doing that. Plus you've gone outside of that too and faced your fears. You know, the security of having a full-time income, to go on full-time craft, and it's honorable. You know, a lot of people watching this today, they're going to be in that position, whether they want to go out and be a coach, whether they want to go out and write books, whether they want to go and design dresses, but there's that energy you said before, you're a bit stuck. So how did you start to shift that? Just talk that through. It's going to give a lot of value to people.
Yeah, so there's so many, I mean, again, this journey has been so incredible. There's been so many breakthroughs. I've been doing so much work on myself in order to build who I am now. That really it's such an incredible journey. I think certainly some of the major experiences that really helped me break through were really, I think a big one is surrounding myself with people like you and having these kind of conversations around what's possible. And when you have enough people shaking up your map of the world and saying, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Considering all these different possibilities, boom, it explodes. And so for me, if I can kind of maybe summarize it into an essence, it would be exactly that. It's about surrounding myself with people who are in this kind of mindset, this kind of tribe, who are this type of, you know, the people that want more out of life. And when you surround yourself with this many people and have enough conversations with, you know, like real conversations about what we want out of life, like the conversations that we have, and about expanding our possibilities and really just pushing the limits of what's possible, that's when we break through. So I would say if I I could narrow it down to one, I guess, vibe, for lack of a better word, that would be it. Yeah.
I like it. It's fun too, just seeing these things. One of the things I always talk about is contribution. And when we come from that element of contribution, there's a deep level of fulfillment that comes through. And it's ultimately, it becomes this simultaneous giving and receiving. And at the start of the year, when I sat down to contemplate what is the next 12 months about, I felt clear enough in what I'm up to that I feel to collaborate more. I actually wrote it down in my magic book. It was quite interesting because I literally, as soon as I wrote that down, Chris reached out and another awesome young gentleman reached out and literally birthed this retreat, which we're about to do together over in Bali, which I'm super stoked about. And then other projects. And I'm fascinated about, because the program that I do with people online now is not the one you're part of. You preceded that with an 8-week thing that we did together, which allowed me to actually design the curriculum for a program we now call M55. And it's interesting to think whether it's 5 days in this retreat format that we're going to do, or 8 weeks, or 90 days, or 12 months, whatever the format is, but how radically a focused time in our life when we're 1,000% committed can actually shift and transform how we show up in life. Now, the thing I'm looking at in you, it's something that I see in myself. You have the 1,000% commitment thing. That's why I'm happy to do projects with you, because you get it. You have skills that I don't have, which I love. That's contribution. That's collaboration. But that thing is, we want to talk back, because it's nice to talk about where we are. But some people watching this right now, they're not there. I've always had that element of intensity, but I have had times where I was scared. I've had times where I was so on, and I've had times where I wasn't. I've had times where I mistook being powerful when actually what I needed to be was more vulnerable and intimate with myself. Hello. And ultimately, with yourself, we want to look at that now too. Like, what is it within your framework, your reference of the world that allows you to be that committed?
It's a good question.
Where you come from?
That's
like 10 years ago. Tell me about you 10 years ago.
Oh, geez, me 10 years ago. Oh, God. We wouldn't be having this conversation. Me 10 years ago, not a very conscious creature, getting drunk most weekends, not believing that there was anything other than just working 40 hours a week in a job for the rest of my life. So certainly didn't really have a belief in myself that I could discover what I was passionate about and do what I loved and experience that highest level of fulfillment. So for me, there was a very thin slice of what was possible in life. I had my head down, and there was very limited potential for my life. So now the whole, cliche as it is, the world is my oyster. I can now design and create my life to be whatever I want it to be. And it's just my imagination is my limit now. It's not, it's not my skill set or anything. It's literally my imagination. As Einstein says, imagination is more important than knowledge. And that, for me, that's like 100% true. Yeah. Yeah. So
love the gentlemen such as Einstein and Rudolf Steiner, Nikola Tesla, just these different guys. And what I sense with them is they were able to connect to the infinite. They're able to live in the genius zone. The genius zone, not just the genius zone, the genius zone. They're able to live in the space. They're able to master multiple areas. A lot of times in our life, we're taught to do one thing and just focus on one thing. I think it's important to master one thing, and then obviously you can move on. But that's the life path of most people, is they come and they be an engineer, and that's what they do. And now it's cool because you can apply what you learn in engineering. Just when we were talking the other day, you're brilliant at spreadsheets. There's areas that you're brilliant at. Doesn't mean you never have to do engineering ever again. But it's fun when that skill set progresses into your new craft. And how did you start to become an engineer? How did that show up?
Yeah, I picked engineering when I was like 18 years old because I was good at maths and I was good at science. And it sounded like a good career where I could, again, looking back on it, it was ego driving me. I wanted significance, wanted to say I had a good career, wanted to impress my parents, all that kind of thing. I didn't have any awareness of it at the time, as an 18-year-old is generally not going to. And so for me, I thought, well, look, out of lack of any other idea about what I wanted to do with my life, look, let's just go with that. It seems like a safe bet. And as you alluded to, I don't regret any of that journey because it gave me that hunger to spend so long in a job when I knew there was something more for me, when I knew there was something I was passionate about that I was going to give to the world, that gave me that hunger to know, no, I'm not going to tolerate that. No. And so that's why I'm so hungry now to share this message with people, to make them realize that, look, that there's more in this world than just working in a job that you don't like. Yeah. We can all live our passion. So that's why I feel blessed to have actually gone through that path, because I'm so passionate now about sharing that with other people, so other people don't have to spend the 10 years that I spent in a job that I don't like, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I like it. It makes it relatable too.
Mm.
That's what's brilliant too. It makes it relatable. You've been through the trenches, you've gone through the things they're going through, and be it business or career, a lot of people are at that point where they realize there's something different available, but it seems so far away. It's just that it's right here. It's always just right here in front of our nose. It's not far, but it seems impossible. But I'm just recalling one of my favorite moments with you. There's been many, but one was a time when you were working in engineering, and we were talking about, how things were going with the boss and different people there. And I remember one day it was just radically awesome for me, because some of the experiences that I have, when you had a experience with someone where you had a deep conversation with them at the water cooler, which you could have stayed and tried to talk for 15 or 20 minutes and get as much in as possible. But what you did then is you elegantly booked them in for a time when you could catch up. Complimentary session, and they paid you.
Yeah. That was my first paying client.
That was one of our targets we had for you, to get you paying clients. Yeah. So how did that?
Yeah.
How did it showed up? Because so many times, we're used to the logical world, where to get a client, you have to go, and it's still important to do this stuff. Marketing is so important, but to have that thing where straight away you got a paid client before you even thought about how you're going to get a paid client.
Yeah. And I was blown away, because I thought, oh yeah, Brock's, you believed in me, and I just certainly didn't quite believe in myself then. I mean, I knew it was going to work out, but I didn't think it was going to happen that quickly. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah, water cooler, and next session. By the way, Brock, I just got a paying client. It's amazing. It's amazing how things show up when you start to energetically put out your intention into the world. So, incredible experience. Yeah.
Honestly, too, I had another lady that invested some cash the other day to do another project. And I go, wouldn't it be cool if the following day, this is a lady named Brooke. So Brooke, if you're watching the replay, shout out to you. She's an awesome coach too. And ultimately with her, she invested the cash. And I go, wouldn't it be cool if the same amount of cash showed up the next day? And the next day, someone who she'd been doing as a pro bono client, because she felt to, they go, this is so good, I want to pay you the same amount of cash. And the cool thing is, if we can contemplate the miracle and the magic mindset and build momentum from that essence and come from that place, there's no lack, there's only abundance. There's always more than enough. There's space for everyone to do well. It's a different perspective if we can come from that. The elements that we've previously learned in personal development, such as massive action or forced action that it often seems like, where people burn themselves out striving and struggling to create something. And they end up what I noticed previously is people would go and they would have a business, and then they would start something different, but they would do it with the same energy of how they were struggling at their job. And that's one of the ones I'm always contemplating working with people, is how do we make it so people have a completely different experience as they exit? Some people will go and start a coaching business and go, well, I need to work 40 or 50 hours a week to build my coaching business. It might be 20. It might be 100. It depends what it is. But ultimately, how have you gone about now going full-time at your career? How are you setting up your days to make sure you experience maximum momentum? Just talk through that, because I think it's good for people when you're in a new business. There is that initial pressure. You start living off your savings, and then you notice that dwindle a little bit, and then things pick up. Then there's a little tip, and all these different waves, kind of like the waves of the ocean. And talk us through it, because we want to have some of that real talk on this show. We don't just always want it to be a highlight reel. We want it to be like real talk where people are like, cool, fuck, he's been through it too, because I definitely have.
Yeah, certainly. It's a massive roller coaster ride. I mean, it's an adventure and it's a mystery. It's the whole lot. And I think the most important philosophy that I've brought to my journey is knowing that there's going to be some days when it's effing hard. And I think that's really important for people to remember, is that, life isn't always just this picture that it's always painted on social media. Entrepreneurship, business, doing this, sometimes it's difficult, right? And there's some days, you know, where it's like real hard, you know, shit goes down. And other days, you know, there's complete euphoria and joy. And I think it's the ability to actually appreciate not only the lows, but, you know, the highs, but also the lows, and see the joy in everything. So I think that fundamentally needs to be a focus for pretty much entrepreneurs, but anyone in life in general. But for me, you know, certainly there was the cash flow problems, you know, where, you know, not having paying clients and taking a leap of faith where, you know, I quit my job when I had one paying client. I thought, look, let's just do it. I'm going to burn the boats and just going to do this, right? Because my philosophy was, I get, you know, this is life. Life isn't a dress rehearsal. Let's do this. And I knew that if I backed myself, I trusted the system. I trusted the people that I was working with, you know, like being around people like yourself, and the training, you know, the company that I was learning my coaching through, totally trusted those guys. So I think that's important as well, to really trust the people that you're around. And certainly that so much of it comes back to self-belief, like just believing in ourselves. And it kind of gets maybe spoken about a lot, you know, probably a lot too much, but self-belief, it's so incredibly important. So whatever we can do to cultivate that sense of belief, for me, that's like one of the most important things. And that comes through in all my morning rituals, you know, all my affirmations, I've got this incredible identity / purpose and mission statement that I read through every morning about who I aspire to be as a person. I read that every day to remind myself of who I need to be. Then there's all the other things, you know, like healthy eating, staying, you know, hydrated, making sure I'm meditating, or, you know, all the basics. And really making sure we stick to the emotional, the emotional rituals and the, if you like, the self-care that underpins all of that. So I think even though when times get tough, when things get stressful, not to forget the basics, you know, particularly staying healthy, meditating, and really feeding our mind with positive, inspirational thoughts. Like every day I've got the podcast that I'm listening to, you know, guys like Les Brown and, you know, the Tony Robbins of the world. I mean, I'm big fans of those guys, but certainly even the Eckhart Tolles of the world. And so I'm just feeding my mind with all of the good stuff, because if we don't feed our mind with all the good content, then there's just so much noise and there's so much negativity that can flood in. So I think that's really important to be conscious of. So there's a lot there, but I think if I was going to narrow it down, they're probably the most important for me.
I like it. I even designed in the M55 program, I designed a whole module around abundant self-care. Because what I noticed with entrepreneurs is like business. Then they burn out, or they get cancer. I know we're not supposed to say that word, but ultimately things happen. People burn out, and then they start to do the things. Then they go like, oh, then I'll eat the good foods. Then I'll drink the water. Then I'll go and paste on stuff. And now it's literally going, well, let's go doing it in advance. Let's start now. Let's go. Well, preparation is the key to spontaneity. How do we set our lives up in such a way that we're ready? People always ask me, you know, Brock, you're the Lifetarian. What are you training for? Life. And it's a fun one too. Like if I look at how much I've invested in coaching and training, still always dropping the cash down just to do it, because it does bring an extra level of commitment, but I also know it brings an extra level of professionalism to the people that I'm engaging with. I can catch up with someone for coffee and I'll get something, but when I pay for their full program and I go and get there, even one of my guys at the moment that he's just done my program, and now I've employed him to do some work with him. And Paul, if you're watching, shout out to you, man. Love you, brother. And literally every week now I'm going, and he gives me 7 days of practice, make sure that I do it properly. I come back and I'm different. And the stuff, just little things I have experienced in my body and stuff like that, it changes stuff. And there's that level of intensity if we're intensely caring for ourselves, which is a big theme, because a lot of men don't, one, care for themselves and their body, and two, don't care for another. Don't care for other men. Just like, mate. That's it. There's this freaking wall up where we're like this.
Yeah.
And I want to play with that, because one of the things I want to talk to you about is that one of the things I was contemplating when we went through the work together was, how can I be more vulnerable and intimate with you when I'm not pretending to be your fucking guru or anything else, but also go, I got some cool stuff. Can we play and see if this works? And I want to know, what are some of the key things in our work together? What are some of the key things, key differences that make? Because you've done, this is the thing, full credit to Chris. Chris has done a lot of stuff. He's gone to a professional coaching place to practice. He's done, you name the personal development modality. If it's there, he's into it. You know, for our retreat, he's about to go and research a breathwork expert down in Perth. Literally about to do that. And he's like, cool, I suggest something. He goes and does it. Someone else suggests it and resonates with him. Cash down, done. So I want to know so many things you've done. Full credit to you for doing that. But with the stuff that you did with me, what are some of the big things that made a big impact? Because it's nice for me to hear as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think your end of the spectrum that you operate in, I absolutely love it. I got so much appreciation for the energetic level that you operate. As you said, you know, I've done so much work in this, you know, the fields of like NLP and traditional style personal development, and then to really get an experience of the way that you operate, which is totally different and just totally blows my mind and blew my mind in the best way possible, was really amazing. So just the energetic way that I shifted the way of thinking. Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of exercises around sending energy and sending intention. Yeah, love it. Got that. So the idea of it, you know, the idea of doing those exercises where we're sort of creating and destroying energy and really connecting energetically with other people, while it was a stretch for me at the time because it was a new way of thinking, it was sort of outside of my way of thinking at the time. By being exposed to that and your way of coaching and that way of thinking and that way of being, it certainly rubbed off on me, and it's certainly totally blown my awareness of what's possible and my appreciation for that energetic connection that we've got between people. So, you know, just little exercises about, you know, think of your boss and then, you know, send him love. Think about, you know, what he's going through, and, you know, really, from a relationship point of view, I think that was one thing that really helped me. Was any of the relationships that I was having a problem with at the time was really, again, connecting energetically. And I think for me, that was a big game. It was a game changer. I don't use that word lightly, but in terms of opening up my possibilities about the energetic exchanges in this universe, there's so much going on that we can't even perceive. So thank you for I guess expanding my map of reality in that way, because it's brought a lot into my life.
I love it, man. It's so fun when people can receive it too. Because in my life, a lot of people think I'm weird still. A lot of people think I'm intense. A lot of people can't receive me, and it's such a gift for me when people can. And you know, like literally the last week of the M55 program I was doing last year, and it actually was week 9 because Paul jumped in on week 7. I did a quick trip down to Perth, and I remember, I think you were already away at that time, but I did a quick trip down to Perth, and it was brilliant because he jumped in with an hour's notice. Let's call it 55 minutes notice, and ran the M55 program, and just said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And that's what I'm playing with more and more, is how do we just bring that leadership through? Just bing, so we're ready. So we can actually say, cool, all right, we've got this thing to go. Kind of like Fast and Furious movies, how they've got this tight family. And family is used a lot in network marketing, and it's used a lot in coaching. And a lot of people lay over the terms like love and different things like family when it's not. So I don't always like to use that. You know, sometimes people, they tell you they've got a clean house. You go to their house, there's stuff everywhere. It's often the opposite of everything. But that thing of Fast and Furious, that's what, you know, when I think about this retreat we got coming up, I want that energy of transformation. I want people to form a tight-knit connection and community where you have their back. And it's not because they've just communicated something with people. It's done. When people start to function from what they know, rather than what they think they should do from here, there's still logic involved. There's still wisdom. There's still learning. There's still lessons. But ultimately, when people drop in and then they just know, and the more we have that, there's just a different sense of ease and space in our life because we just know, which is fun. So that's something I'm excited about, getting people to know, getting people to be in the flow, getting people to radically transform areas of their life, getting people to do the principles of abundant self-care, getting people intimate and vulnerable, getting people to look one another in the eyes, getting people to have the best food ever, the most epic adventures. And one of our preferences or intentions is to literally create the best retreats on the planet. We might even come up with a whole new game-changing word for retreats. Who knows what we'll call it? But I want to hear from your perspective right now. What are you most excited about? You know, we've got a 5-day transformational event coming up. It's good to mention that with people while we're together. And what are the things you're most excited about with that? What gifts are you looking
Yeah.
forward to sharing with people?
Yeah, the biggest gift is the gift of transformation. So transformation on so many different levels. So not only from a health and vitality point of view, but obviously at a vulnerability level, at a emotional connection level. Certainly in terms of people getting clearer on why they're here, like, you know, why are we here in life, and starting to connect with that, so that deeper level of sense of self. So for me, that's that higher level of transformation that I'm all about in my coaching, and that I'm committed to giving, you know, everyone on this retreat. Is number one is that level of transformation, and underpinning that, I think, is also the spirit of us bringing that fun and that bringing that adventure and that playfulness that underpins it all. We also remind ourselves that we're also here in life to have fun. So it's also, you know, while we're there to create transformation, it's also a mix of actually having some fun and really connecting with some like-minded people and building relationships as well. So they're the highlights for me. I mean, there's so much here. I mean, there's, you know, with the meditation and the yoga, and, you know, the sound healing and the breath work, and we're only just getting started in putting this together. You know, we're making this, literally, we're designing the best transformation experience that we can possibly create. So it's only just getting started.
And I'm so excited just by stepping into that choice. It's kind of like Chris. He had one client, and then he stepped in that choice full time at his craft. Another one of my guys in Sydney, he was working up to 100 hours a week doing video editing for something that he hated. And he showed up in my life when I wrote down that I'd like to have someone video my business at the time in Sydney. At the time, I was selling organic produce and having the best time ever. I'm like, hey, Mrs. Johnson, you're looking like you're in the mood for grapes today. Isn't life wonderful? Just having the best time. Like, I know it sounds a bit cheesy, but I was playing with my intuition. I was playing with that different connection and just having fun with people, spinning them around on my arm and having a great time. And somehow Peter was drawn to this energy. A gentleman named Peter Doust that does a company called Digital Storytellers. And just love him. Like, it's just like you and I, Chris, like just that connection, you know, you just feel it. And with him, we've done a bunch of projects together, and we just function from our knowing, and we dream about things before we actually institute them. And we have a lot of instances where we just know, but for him, he was doing full-time corporate and hated it. So I took him out for dinner after he'd been helping us out for a few weeks, and I was giving him a box of fresh, organic, beautiful vegetables every week, the best food ever. And then I said to him, is this what you really want to do with your life? Because sometimes people think they need to change careers. It's not about that. Sometimes it's like a little 1% tweak and people can love their job. You could be a nurse and just go, well, I'd rather be in one hospital. I want to be a nurse in Africa. I want to be a nurse on ships. I want to be a personal trainer that goes on tour, whatever happens to be. It might be a slight nuance. And one thing about radical transformation is sometimes it's just a tiny little. And with Peter, once he knew, like you with that one client, once he knew that he had a box of vegetables a week, you know, maybe $100 of vegetables. Once he knew that, that was enough certainty for him to go, cool, I'm provided for. Worst case scenario, I can eat. And you knew you had enough to eat. You know, one client, you can eat. You might not eat the best ever, but you can eat. You're like, cool. Then you start, and that whole thing about as soon as you're fully committed, it all starts to conspire to your greatness. It just shows up. And that's, I think, the principle we want to convey. One, in the coaching that Chris and I are doing individually. Obviously, with this retreat coming up, we're going to be doing some facilitation together, which is going to be brilliant. And that space where people go, what is it I really want to do? What is it I came here for? That thing that always, when I put my head on the pillow at night, it just tweaks me. When I wake up, I think about it. When I'm at work daydreaming. And those things you guys might, right now, even watching this, you might be fully having attention. If I don't have your full attention now, may I have it now, please? Love that attention thing. But asking people, if you have that thing where you're daydreaming when you're doing all the other things, well, maybe it's time to go and do that at least a little bit. It might not be for everyone's personality to jump 1,000% in, but it might be time just to go, cool, what's one of those things I really want to do, and start it now. Which I love. Next question, you ready?
Yeah, brother. Ready.
So if you could give anyone anything on the planet, 3 things that are going to help them build the most momentum. And when I think about momentum, I don't just think about a steam train. I think about, you know, when you see dolphins move, they play, they have fun, they communicate energetically. vibration, and they just know where to find each other. How do they know? Because they know. And they go from one place to another and they surf the waves. But ultimately, people got three different ways that, you know, they want to contemplate, they want to build some momentum on something new. What's your best? What's the best of your best? The wisdom you have for people right now? Just give it to me. Boom.
Yeah. So I'd say number one is asking themselves what's the best that can happen. So it's totally visualizing. And the way that I recommend doing this is meditating, and then during the meditation or towards the end of it, start to do a real highly detailed visualization about what are the amazing things that you want to bring into your life. So start to really create that inspiration and start to visualize it as if it's already happened. So starting to get clear, and again, it's a clarity exercise about what you want to create for your life. And I think from that then is like it's going to pull you towards whatever you want when you start to associate into what you want to create. So I think that for me is is a big thing I recommend for all of my clients, and it makes a major difference. It's part of my morning ritual and something I do every day. So that would be number one. Number two would be certainly setting ourselves up for being in a peak vital state. So that means, you know, getting ourselves prepped in terms of breathing, hydration, our posture, being aware of our body, drinking some great water, filtered water there, and really reminding ourselves that if we're going to be at our best, and if we're going to strive to, you know, become the best version of ourselves and literally live our passion, then we've got to set ourselves up and be physically primed. And so that's not just food and nutrition, but certainly exercise, flexibility, but mentally alert as well. So that would be the second major thing that I think really contributes to momentum. Third thing I think as well is reminding ourselves about what gets us excited. Because I think a lot of the time in life, excitement is one of these emotions that really generates, gives us that motivation. So I think we go back to the fundamentals of what gets me excited in life, and figuring out how we can blend in what we love into all the tasks that we're doing in our daily life. The more that we can pack in there, I think that's one of the keys to unlocking that higher level of motivation. So there's so much, but I was going to say they're probably the three that come to mind that I think give us the biggest bang for buck.
It's good to have the three. And then the thing I want to ask too, this is a question that Richard Fu, one of my buddies, he's got the Forge Your Life podcast. And it'd be another good one for you to jump on too. I'll have a chat to him as well. It's good for you to start doing some more podcasts and getting it out there a bit. He's brilliant. You know, I had a conversation with him over in San Diego, and we tried to connect. We tried to do these different things. And finally, when I got to catch up, I think I lost you for a second there. You back?
Yeah, I've got you now, mate. We're still live?
Yeah, I just lost you for a second, but we're good. So we had this thing with Richard Fu, Forge Your Life podcast. I was just saying then too, it might have got on the recording, but he's a legend. We'll have to get you on his podcast too. He's just a charming man. I cancelled on him once, and then he cancelled on me. And then the third time I was on a rooftop in San Diego, and I was having a conversation with him, and it made me cry, like just how he asked it to me. Just a few things from that podcast. He went deep. He got intimate with me. I'm about to have another conversation with him now about some other stuff. But he's one of the guys in the game that really, really cares. And Brock, you know, you've got 60 seconds. And this is the last message you have to share with the world before you take your last breath. What do you want to say? So I want you to end with that one, man. Take a moment if you need to.
All right. Yeah, I know exactly what I would say.
I'm going to say 50.
I would say, so my biggest passion in life is reminding people that life isn't a dress rehearsal. This is the real deal. And we're either all in doing, giving it life our all, or else we're simply not honoring the greatness inside ourselves. So that would be my message to the world is, how can we be all in? How can we give ourselves to our passions, to what we love, to what we believe in? And when we give all of that, when we actually live our passion, when we're excited, we're enthusiastic, and we're in that flow state of being all we can be, then that's when the best version of ourselves shows up, and that's when magic happens. And that's how we can live our greatest ever life, is when we're showing up at 100% passion for what we love in life. So if we can do what we love,
yeah,
if we can do it with passion, then for me, that's a successful life for me.
Love it, man. Appreciate those words. And I think we're gonna finish it up there. So we've got enough there too. But ultimately, this thing, where can people find you? If they want to check out Chris Jackson Coaching, where's the best place to go?
Yeah, so my website, chrisjacksoncoaching.com. I've got a Facebook group as well where I'm putting out daily inspirational content and lots of teaching, lots of mentoring. The Facebook group is Coaching with Chris at Facebook. Reach out for anyone who wants to chat about more about. I mean, again, we could chat for hours about personal development, life upgrade type stuff. But anyone who wants to reach out, I'd love to connect with you. Always looking to meet like-minded, amazing people on this journey. So
Awesome.
Love to connect.
Chris is in Perth right now, so obviously, he's doing the coaching, he's doing the speaking, he's doing the retreats, and brilliant at what he does. You know, such an honor to have had the opportunity to work with you, my man. Now to collaborate with you, and also to have you as one of my good friends. It's an awesome thing, my man, and I definitely appreciate you. So it's good to have you today on the Lifetarian YouTube, aka podcast, The Magic Show. Appreciate you, brother. Bring it in. Boom.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on.
Peace.